Vanishing Point, a novel by Keith A. Kenel, 13 of 101. Part 13. With the departure of the bus students, control of releasing the third graders reverted to Miss Shannon, Ms. Ewell, and Mrs. Henniger, all of whom stood just inside their doorways and called on individual students to be dismissed. "Rob, John, Nancy, and Nikki," Miss Shannon asked, "you may head down to the Wildcat Warren for after school." The students stood and began to make their way toward the exit when Stacy added, "And be sure to walk. Nikki and Rob, I want to hear good things from Ms. Deidre tomorrow." John elbowed Rob in the arm in response to the teacher's admonition to his friend, and Nikki answered, "Okay, Miss Shannon, we will," as the quartet exited toward the school's gymnasium. Stacy stepped across her room's threshold and called to Sean Ewell. "Sean, Skylar mentioned that there was a man roaming around the front of the school during today's recess. Is that true?" Sean diverted her attention from her students and asked, "Pardon? Oh, yes, there was a man out on the playground fence. I called up to the office while Jim went over and spoke to him. Why, do you know who he was?" "Oh, no, or at least not so far as I know. Skylar has this idea that the man is her father." "Really? She did speak to me about him just as recess was ending, but she didn't mention that to me. Is there does he have parental rights? I've only seen Skylar here with her mother, Carla, right? Does her father live with them?" "Well, that's exactly what I asked, but Skylar's answer was very odd." Stacy looked over her shoulder and checked on her students before stepping across the hallway and speaking quietly to Sean. In a very subdued voice, she added, "Skylar said that her father has been dead for quite some time now, and when I pointed out that the man must just look like her father, she insisted that, logic or not, he actually was her father. I promised her I'd follow up." Sean tilted her head and looked at the young teacher from the corner of her eyes. "Stacy, honestly, follow up on nonsense? Every year, a small minority of students takes up a majority of a teacher's time, and Skylar Kaiser certainly falls into that category for you. Goodness, what are you going to do, hold a seance? I suppose you should follow up with Suzanne, as ridiculous as the whole thing obviously is." "Yes, I was going to. Speak with Suzanne, that is. I'm sure Jim got the man's name." "I'm sure Jim asked the man's name," Sean replied acidly. "Whether the man told the truth or not is another story." "Did he mention the man's name to you?" "Yes, I think so. It was right at the end of recess, and once the man left, I was concentrated on hurting children. Something with a K or maybe a C. Caleb, maybe? I don't know for sure. I'd ask Jim or Suzanne. I'm sure Suzanne made an incident report." Stacy's eyes got big and her face grew pale in response to Sean's announcement. "Stacy?" Sean asked, sincere concern in her voice. "Are you all right? You look like the devil's chasing you." I don't know for sure. If not the devil, then maybe a ghost. Let me talk to Jim and Suzanne and I'll fill you in on what I learned, okay?" Sure. Better get back to your class. Dismissal waits for no one, either living or dead."